Howdy do, America. It's me, Ruben, coming to you again. Now, as you may have noticed, I kind of haven't been posting. Now, to be fair, it's only been a week or so of me not posting regularly. I should have redone my nails before this. They're all scratched and nasty. But that's fine. Who cares? Who gives a shit? Who knows why I even paint them? Actually, I do know why I paint them, but that's not important because I'm not here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about you, America. The reason I dropped off a little bit was because I tried to do a live recording of the presidential debates, and frankly, it kind of fucking broke me a little bit. And I don't just mean because it was bad. I both my stream and the debate. I fucked up the audio somehow. I'm not used to YouTube systems yet. They don't give me. Maybe I just didn't know where to find the correct menu button. But it wasn't giving me the audio options I felt like I needed to be in control of, well, my fucking audio. You can watch it if you want. It's still up. I'm not going to hide my shame. I leave it up as a painful reminder of why I need to get better. I was thinking about making it members only, but that would be weird to be like, you have to pay money to see the bullshit, to see the bad shit. Interesting idea, actually. Don't know if it would make a ton of money, but it would mean I don't know what it would mean. Let's get back to what I was talking about. The debate broke me, not just because my attempts to cover the debate were stupid and bad, but also because the debate itself was real fucking bad. Like it was honestly the funniest debate I've ever seen. But that's not really what you want. You don't want to ultimately, like, the presidential debate should not be darkly humorous from beginning to end. That's not an ideal position for you as a country to be in, for that to be the outcome. But it was shockingly funny and weird. I mean, the obvious standout moment, of course, was when two old men started fighting about their goddamn golf handicaps. I mean, holy shit. Really? I've seen him swing. I've seen him swing. It's a bad swing. It's the worst swing. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, and they're both to blame for that one because Biden, you did not have to dignify any response about golf. It was one of the most painful things I've ever seen. Now, Biden's campaign has come out saying that he had a cold and that's why his throat sounded like that. Maybe you should lead with that information in the future and also give the man a goddamn throat lozenge. Also, if Biden is better during the day, why would you agree to a debate at 9? I mean, my God, let the old man go to sleep. People his age normally eat at 4. It's just, it's disheartening. It's disheartening. And I know some of you are going to be like, well, maybe we should vote for RFK. Don't be fucking stupid. For starters, what are we even talking about? 3 old white guys, the youngest of which, RFK, is like 70. I mean, hell, there's a part of me that would totally accept Bernie Sanders right now. But at the same time, Bernie Sanders is also fucking old. They're all old. All of them. And white. Donald Trump is only like 3 years younger than Biden. Do you understand that? And his diet is garbage. Look, I don't know what we need to do. if we need to like start having like a mental acuity test for anyone who wants to be president. I mean, it's a little ableist, but you know, maybe there should be a limit on presidents, you know. To be fair, even if Biden does have dementia, as some have speculated, but there is zero confirmation of it this time, just to be completely out open with it. We have yet to have any confirmation of any such diagnosis. Even if that was true, so did Reagan. Sort of a whataboutism, but like, we've done that thing before with a whole bunch of people like propping the president up and helping decisions get made. I mean, sure, Reagan used it to do crime, but maybe Biden won't. But maybe the people around Biden won't do crime. We have no evidence so far that they have, although there is evidence that someone's doing cocaine, which maybe that shouldn't be a crime. By the way, don't do cocaine, kids. Cocaine people are the most annoying drug addicts, and they have the worst ideas. So don't do cocaine, even if maybe it should be legal. At least then the CIA could stop selling it to people. Where was I? Right. Donald Trump pretty much spent the whole debate doing the thing where he would essentially just try and lie as much as he possibly could. Now the question there is a certain level of question being, does Donald Trump actually believe all the incredibly wrong information that came flooding out of his mouth throughout the debate? He might. Then he's just wrong. And that's not better in terms of outcome. But he essentially just tried to run over everything by having more lies than anyone could fact check. Also, hold on. We need to talk about this. Before the debate, they talked a lot about fact checking. Thing is, there wasn't a single fact check during the actual debate. No one said anything. No one said shit. And I'm going to be honest with you, real-time fact checking doesn't matter if the people who watch the debate don't see it. That's a waste of everyone's time. We were told that there would be fucking fact checking, and there was no fucking fact checking. Nobody did it. Where was it? It didn't come up on the screen. They didn't call any of the candidates out mid-thing. There were and you know that somebody's lying because there were several times where they made conflicting statements. And it's like, well, one of these motherfuckers has got to be right. Or statistically, either one of them is correct or neither of them is correct. They're somehow both correct. I mean, I guess something could be complicated enough that they could both have half-true points in their statements. But where was the fucking fact checks? There were none. There were no fucking fact checks. They didn't do shit. Maybe then the after thing, they gave us the fact checks, but guess what? At that point, most Americans have already fucking stopped watching. I was waiting for it. I was chomping at the bit to see the candidates get fact checked in what I assumed would be real time and get to see their goddamn reactions. Did we get that? No, we did not get that. We did not get that fucking at all. To say that I was profoundly disappointed with the debate would be putting it mildly. Will I vote for Biden? If I fucking have to. Are you kidding me? Donald Trump is literally destroying America, and he's not even currently president. This man's influence is fucking terrible. It is cancer. Faith in democracy has been at an all-time low, and it's 100% because of his fucking rhetoric and the amount of lies he spreads. The constant thing he did throughout the debate that drove me fucking crazy is that essentially they would have their back and forths. Candidate would get to say something, the other candidate would get to respond. One candidate might get a rebuttal. And every time that Biden got the rebuttal position, Donald Trump would try to steal time from the next question he was asked to do a third rebuttal, to try and have the last word. Instead of answering the fucking questions that Trump was asked, he would just try to use it for more rebuttal time, an unwarranted rebuttal time, a rebuttal time outside the rules of the engagement they were set up for. He is terrible. He's a terrible debater. And yet, because Sleepy Joe sounded hella sleepy, I feel that very many of the undecided voters will walk away going, Trump won. And that's not good, because the most dangerous thing about Trump voters and undecided voters is how much vibes matter to them. The thing you have to understand, people, and this is fucking important, so you listen to me. Vibes can be wrong. Vibes, in fact, vibes are specifically how certain people manipulate you, because vibes are just a feeling. Vibes are just an impulse. Vibes is just a little tiny intuitional tingle. They can be wrong. And emotionally crafty people can use them to trick you. And Donald Trump is a salesman. Donald Trump has made his life making deals and making sales and winning lawsuits against people who didn't make him enough money. Donald Trump is all vibes. Donald Trump knows how to manipulate the vibes. In fact, you could see it. The first time Biden started to stumble a little bit in his talking, you could see Donald Trump's face fucking light up. He could smell blood in the water, which was a big deal. Because at the beginning of the debate, Donald Trump himself also seemed tired and listless and low on energy. Because normally he's there for the feel of the crowd. He wants that. That's what Donald Trump really loves. A room full of people shouting his fucking name. That's what the Don really, really wants out of all of this. To feed his ego. Oh, and to not go to jail. Because he might need to become president to not go to jail, because he's definitely a fucking criminal. I don't just mean that because he just got convicted on a number of felonies. I also mean it because frankly, from the research I've done into the keeping documents at Mar-a-Lago case, they got him pretty dead to rights. And I really wish that had been the first one they had tried against him. The best part about it being is that crime is only a felony because he made it a felony. He would literally be hoisted on his own petard. Wait, I should look at what petard means before I say it's literally. The point is, it would be literally his fault that it is a felony for that crime. And that's truly juicy poetic justice. But also, the crime itself is profoundly unsettling for a former president. The idea that he might be just, sharing American secrets with whoever the fuck he wants, and that some of the documents were not recovered, is way no bueno. You get me? It's bad. It's terrible. The man is an justifiably untrustworthy creep who is literally surrounded with pedophiles. There were numerous allegations specifically against him and Jeffrey Epstein. I just want to remind everyone that he refused to condemn Ghislaine Maxwell. Ghislaine Maxwell, he refused, however the fuck you say her name, he refused to condemn her on television. I've seen the clip. I've seen the video, the conversation, the full context. They asked him about her in the context of her being on trial. And he said he hopes she's doing well, that she's in its. That bitch literally was a child trafficker. And Donald Trump wished her well. His connection to Jeffrey Epstein, it's wildly, wildly hypocritical that no one, especially when so many people on the right claim to care about the safety of children and human trafficking, that no one seems to care about this. The recent leaks about the cases that were pending that had at one point almost been brought against Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein for the sexual molestation of 12 and 13-year-old girls. Actually, molestation is not even technically accurate. It's full on, the R word. That's worse. That's worse. That's worse. There is a subtle difference between those things. Neither of them good. Both bad. It's... And yet, Donald Trump continues to be lauded by people who claim that this is the worst thing that can happen. Because it kind of fucking is one of the worst things that can happen. It's like, God damn it, why can't you see through this orange clown? And now the DNC is in a panic over Biden, which sucks because that's a real rock and a hard place. Either way, it's kind of a toss of the dice. Are we going to gamble on the idea that many Americans, or at least the Americans willing to turn out, are going to embrace a man who appears to be a very sleepy senior citizen, and that's the best case scenario? Will Biden be able to do enough public appearances to sort of make America's general public think that, oh, maybe he was just having an off day? Maybe. Who knows? Like, fuck, right? But what's the alternative? Who could we possibly replace him with that wouldn't be a huge last-minute giant risk itself? How would we pick a replacement, having made almost no attempts in the primary to even have one? Is it too little, too late to even do that? I don't know. Currently, my prediction is that regardless of who wins, I'm expecting possibly record low turnout. It's very possible that many Americans will just stay home and make this someone else's problem, although it will be all of our problem. Non-participation, the dumbest of all political philosophies. I'm sorry, that was unkind. Non-participation has worked in the past. However, and this is important, you need a substantial portion of a population to non-participate for non-participation to work. And you see, that's kind of the problem with non-participation as a philosophy, which is that your numbers would have to fucking cosmically dwarf the numbers of people who did participate. It would have to be a participation on a level so tremendous as to show the whole system is broken, at which point, I have bad news, we'll just have more problems. You want to change the US government completely? Good luck with that. Because guess what? That never goes great. Transitional periods suck. You don't want to be part of them. At least not dramatic, violent ones, which is what some people seem to want. The right's been basically implying that, hey, it won't be violent as long as you don't resist, which, like, terrifying shit. You don't want to be part of a revolution. Revolutions are so terrible, so violent, so deadly, so life-altering that they should only happen in cases of absolute need. Oh, wrong. I believe in the American Revolution. I believe the American Revolution was overall a net positive for society because the ideas of the Enlightenment and social democracy were ultimately the right moves away from the hierarchical traditionalist values of monarchy. America represents the breaking down of that hierarchy, the escape from royal hierarchies. We often forget that the reason that people went against the crown because of taxes wasn't just because they were taxes. It was taxes that did nothing for the colonies. Taxes that only bought the colonies the right to like the King of England. And by that I mean gave them nothing. I believe that America is worth defending. And by that I mean democracy. Democracy is what separates us from fascism. Democracy is what separates us from the monarchies. It is as close as we have gotten to any type of socialism or anarchism is democracy. Because at the end of the day, the breaking down of hierarchies are ultimately about giving you choices and freedoms and making you, the American citizen, part of the process. This is why democracy is important. Sometimes I think we've forgotten what makes democracy important. Don't be wrong, I have all sorts of criticism for America that I am ready to discuss. But America is worth saving. It's hard to fully explain that to people these days, it seems like, because America has committed some truly heinous crimes throughout the history of itself as a country. America has at numerous points been hypocritical and racist and oppressive, and even, despite what we appear as value-wise, imperialistic. In fact, imperialistic as fuck. But at the end of the day, America was the country that broke free from traditionalist monarchical hierarchies. It is America that represents this type of freedom. And then also, kind of the French. But the French suck. So let's focus on America's contributions to freedom and democracy. Although admittedly, the French are better at protesting. Good for them. At least we have age of consent laws. Boom! France crushed. All right. Back to what I was saying. Philosophically, I don't know if I could ever say I'm proud to be an American. That seems weird, like saying I'm proud to be a fan of the Cleveland Browns. I'm not a fan or proud, nor do I understand the concept of being proud of a sports team because they won something. Just seems, like I didn't do shit in that scenario. But I do think that America is a country that represents the potential. That represents the potential of what we could be as a society. Different states working together, a government that is more regulatory body than anything else. The need to have the consent of the citizens. I think these things are important. The right to your own beliefs and ideology, even though that can cause some serious fucking problems, as we're seeing currently. The freedom of speech that America has, gifted upon its citizens, is valuable, although no longer unique. So when I watched that debate, it was very frustrating. It was frustrating to see Joe be Sleepy Joe. Although it is worth noting that he has actually been a very productive president, getting a lot of different laws passed and accomplishing numerous things legislatively that are and will ultimately be good for America. It's worth noting, if you're some type of fiscal conservative, a philosophy that I understand the value of, while at the same time thinking that most people who follow it strictly are a bit out of it, then you need to understand that the deficit, what was added to the deficit by Biden, was, frankly, half of what Donald Trump added to the deficit in the same period of time. In fact, Donald Trump is one of the worst deficit spending presidents of all time, increasing the deficit more than almost every president combined. I say almost because that number does not, because that's only not true if you take Barack Obama. If you leave Barack Obama in the numbers, Donald Trump has added more of the deficit than George Washington through George W. Bush combined. Now, to be fair, there's some inflation things going on there. But do you understand what I'm saying? If what you really care about is the deficit, then you should not be voting for Trump under any circumstances. That would be like saying that your values mean nothing and that you only care about winning. And now let's talk about Palestine, because I have bad news about Palestine. What is that bad news? Well, that bad news is that between Donald Trump, Joe Biden, and RFK Jr., Joe Biden is relatively the most pro-Palestinian candidate. Now, I know what you're saying. He doesn't seem that pro-Palestinian. And you're mostly right. However, from a material standpoint, he is the most pro-Palestinian of those three candidates. Now, I know what you're saying, is that, yes, Biden may have done some things to make sure that aid was getting into Palestinians, but it's just a drop in the bucket. You're 100% right in that assessment. However, in that debate, Trump's response about Israel was basically just that he would let Netanyahu finish the job. Now, it's worth noting that Biden and Netanyahu have actually not on great terms now, as Biden has been offering resistance up to Netanyahu's insane policies, which, by the way, even the Israeli IDF disagree with Netanyahu's assessments of the situation and are encouraging a ceasefire, because they say they're more concerned about the potential invasion of Hezbollah, which if I were the Israelis, I would probably be more concerned about too. So Netanyahu's own military would like to end that war as quickly as possible. But Netanyahu only wants to end that war when every single Hamas person is dead. And he doesn't seem to care how many Palestinian civilians have to die for it. So if Donald Trump's response is that he would let Netanyahu finish the job, what he means is he does not care. Trump does not care how many Palestinians die. With Biden may be not great. Biden may not be doing what we want him to do, but I have bad news. Materially, on a material level, Trump will be worse for Palestinians. Just throwing that out there. RFK sounds like he's not much better. So please try to think about the things about America that are worth saving. And those things are democracy, liberty, and equality. The ability to have American citizens be involved in the process. And I almost forgot about the fucking Supreme Court. Oh my God. Supreme Court just opened a whole fucking can of worms by saying that presidents are immune from prosecution if the thing falls under the category of official business, which is wildly problematic due to the fact that now we have a huge gray area for criminal behavior from the most powerful man in America. In fact, the only reason I could even think that SCOTUS would want to do this would be to protect themselves from the prosecution of crimes done in the committing of their own business. In a 6-3, in a stacked conservative Supreme Court, the Supreme Court has ruled that Nixon was right, that anything the president does is legal. Well, sort of. Not really. Kind of. That's the problem. Big gray fucking area. So fucking gray of an area that they were like, you know what, we're not actually going to solve this. Let's just kick it down to the lower courts to determine what we meant by that. So potentially this could be a whole can of worms that could open up a whole other can of worms to make it clear that we could be paving a path forward for the most illegal actions taken by presidents in the future. And when numerous insiders from the Trump administration talk about how it seemed like a good portion of what they did every day was just tell Donald Trump, no, we can't do that, it's illegal, it looks like we could be in trouble. We don't know what another Donald Trump 4 years would look like. But now that he potentially has some level of immunity to crimes committed as president, because they will, quote, quote, not be crimes when the president does them in his official business, well, that's bad. That's real bad. That's a real fucking problem. In fact, it's the biggest problem I can even think of. better ways than giving just blank immunity criminal behavior to get around the idea of people overtly and possibly unjustifiably, prosecuting political opponents. There has to be a better way of dealing with that potential problem than just granting presidents full immunity. Although, to be fair, it's exactly what we say about police right after police have murdered someone. Shit. So, what I want you to think about is the potential of America. There are good things in America. There are good things worth saving about America. And Donald Trump and the current form of the Republican Party, especially when backed by the Heritage Foundation and Project 2025, are going to destroy those things that actually do make America great. They are going to erode our rights and our potential. Please try and keep these things in mind as we move forward in the coming months and days. Thank you for tuning in. I know this wasn't fun, or it might have been funny at points. I don't know. How dark is your sense of humor? Oh, and abortion. Don't forget. If you think it's a good idea to send abortion back to the States, you might want to start thinking about what states you want to live in. Just saying. So yes, thank you for joining me. Please like and subscribe and ring that bell if you're on YouTube. If you're anywhere else, and by that I mean podcast platforms, do whatever you do on those podcast platforms to help me in the algorithm of whatever's going on that podcast platform. Podcast platform could be a new tongue twister. Stick that in my back pocket for now. If you want to contact the show, you can email me at rubenuncut@gmail.com. I also have a Facebook fan page. I guess you can check that out too. Thank you for tuning in. Have a wonderful whatever, wherever, whoever you are. God bless America, and save it too.